And it's good news with Dick Baumbach. I'm Jeff Heiser, and I have Mr. Baumbach here today in the studio bringing us some good news. How are you today, Mr. Baumbach?
We want to bring some good news to you and every listener on TNR.
Well, that's great. I apologize for my voice. I've been a little under the weather. And
that's why I'm moving back from the mic.
It's a little crackly. You know, your first story here is pretty interesting. It's about a Boston Marathon bombing survivor who is now set to marry the man who saved her.
Yep. This is a Boston firefighter, Mike Materia. He is going to be marrying Roseanne Sodia, and this coming fall. And they wouldn't have met if she had not been standing near the finish line when the terrorist bomb exploded. He came to the aid and kept talking to her after they got her to the hospital. And it just went on and on and on. And all of a sudden they realized this was more to this than just that bombing. And so he has proposed to her, and she has said yes. Wow.
You know, it's strange how we're put together sometimes, isn't it?
Exactly.
You just never know. I mean, in that kind of a situation, that the person that could have been the last person she saw winds up marrying her.
Right. And she lost her leg in the...
Oh, she did? Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but he went every day to the hospital.
Wow. That's I would say that's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Your next one is about Walmart cashier pays for half of a family's grocery bill. And, you know, I tried to get her to do it for me, but she wouldn't do it.
I keep going, and they look at me like I'm just crazy.
She said, I think you all need a blessing. When she looked at me, she says, you got plenty.
Well, this happened in Columbia, South Carolina, happened last week. Ashley Jordan and her husband, Michael, they always do their shopping at Walmart every 2 weeks, but they don't have a lot of money. They're very stretched, and money that they get in really goes to feed themselves and the kids. And as they were going on the checkout line, the cashier, who is Shakeen Dassan, she looked at them and said, you know what? I'm going to pay for half of this. You need a blessing. And she then took money out of her pocket and paid for half their bill. And they were like shocked. Well, they took a picture with her and put it on Facebook, and it now has had over 350,000 likes. Wow.
That's incredible. Now, you know, have you ever considered doing something like that?
Yes.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but have you ever done it?
Yes.
And the people knew it?
Yes.
Can you tell the audience what that feeling is like?
Well, can I tell you when we did it?
Sure.
Okay, this was several years ago. Diane, my lovely wife, and I heard about people taking care of people layaways for Christmas. Well, we walked into J.C. Penney and we took care of 3 people's layaways.
Oh, wow.
And they finally found out today.
Now we've done it for meals. I mean, I've bought meals for people that we just knew that they were having a hard time. And a couple of years ago at Christmas, we were at a Waffle House, and it was Christmas Day, I believe. And my wife started talking to the waitress, and she was saying, she wasn't home for Christmas Eve, and now here she is today. And boy, I can tell you, my wife left a sizable tip for this lady. And it was like, what are you doing? Yeah. And she said she just felt like she had to do it.
Well, it's giving back.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about giving back, this next one, cops bring months' worth of groceries to old man who phoned 911 hungry. Could you imagine calling 911 because you're hungry?
I know. Well, this gentleman is 79, and he lives in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, and he's disabled. He hadn't eaten in 2 days, and he just called because he didn't know who else to call. He had no family, so he called 911 and said, "Is there any way he can get some food?" Officers came to the house to check on him. Then they went out and took $160 out of their own pockets and bought him food for the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
And they started a food pantry at the police station for him so he doesn't have to worry about it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
You know, I have a police story that I just saw, and I think it was on the news last night, I believe, about this lady. She was driving down, and I actually know the people that wrote this story. She was riding down the road, and there was a state trooper, and the hood was up, and she saw him bent over into the trunk, and so she stops and she says to him, "Do you need help? Are you okay?" And he says, "Oh yeah, I'm just washing my windows." And she says, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Can I wash yours?" And she said, "Well, no. And he just started washing her windows for him. And before he was done, he had done 3 other people. They all stopped and were saying thanks to him and wanting to make sure he was okay. And he wound up washing these people's windows on the side of the road.
Wow.
Yeah. Is that incredible?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
But the elder lady, she just stopped and she wanted to make sure. And then the people that wrote the story that I know said that they saw what was going on and they weren't sure. And so they stopped and wanted to make sure everything was okay. And the police officers, yeah. And they said, "Well, can you wash ours?" Because they were elder people. Wow. And he did. He cleaned the whole thing for him.
Well, I'll go out there right now.
Yeah. So this next one, this kind of takes an intestinal fortitude that is very special. A 7-year-old applies for a job at Google and gets a letter back from the CEO.
Yep, this is Chloe Bridgewater. She's 7 years old. And Chloe kept telling, she lives in England, and she kept telling her parents that she wanted to work for Google, and she knew stuff. And they said to go ahead and write Google and see what happens.
Wow.
So she did, and she, lo and behold, gets a letter back from the CEO who says that he really appreciated her letter, and if she continues to work on computers and etc., he would look forward to, after she finishes school, to have her become part of the Google family.
Wow.
Well, what really hit me on this one
Wow.
is that I have a similar thing in my life, which I might have shared with you, and that is my partner in Baumbach and Fisher was Dick Fisher. He was the retired senior vice president, corporate relations for American Airlines.
Wow.
When we first opened the company, he kept saying to me, "Your name is so familiar, I can't understand why." You know, it's different. It's a strange name. About 6 months later, he turned white as a ghost and looked at me and said, "Did you ever write a letter to American Airlines?" And I said, "Yeah, when I was 5 years old, I would go into LaGuardia Airport with my parents waiting for my uncle to come in for a visit."
I was very familiar with LaGuardia, yeah.
And I kept saying to my parents I wanted to get on a plane. They said, "Will you write the man who owns American Airlines, and we'll mail the letter for you." Dick Fisher, my partner, is the one who wrote the letter back to me.
Wow. That's amazing.
I don't have the letter. I don't have the letter.
That's amazing. You know, speaking of talking with letters, you know, recently the Daytona 500 ran. And there's a story that one of the drivers, I believe the driver that won last year, wrote an essay when he was in 5th grade or was 5 years old or whatever, that he would win the Daytona 500, and everybody laughed at him and what have you. Took him. He said it would take him. It would be in 1998. It took him a little bit longer, but isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
I mean, it's like I talk about where if you think the idea, you write it down, and you take some action on it, things come true.
Right. It's a small world.
It's a very small world. Speaking of small worlds, before we end today, what do you think so far about our new president?
Okay.
Without getting political.
No, we're not going to get political. Okay. Wait a minute. Can I Twitter you my thoughts?
Yeah, you sure can.
Well, I'm just hoping that we come together as a country.
Yeah. Well, you could have tweeted that to me.
Tweet.
So what do you have for us next week? And don't tell me I'm a barrage of tweets because...
No. Actually, this is good for all of us. Russian scientists have successfully slowed down the aging process. Whoa.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to tune in for those. So until next week, I hope everybody has a good week. And Mr. Baumbach?
Thank you, Mr. Heiser, and you too have good week and good news.
Thank you so much. And this has been Good News with Dick Baumbach.